Hey everyone, welcome to Lizzie's Little Library and the Newbery Project. Today's book is the 1984 winner called Dear Mr. Henshaw by Beverly Clearly. This is a book that I read as a child and I didn't particularly like it as a kid. I didn't think it was nearly as good as any of the Ramona books. I thought even then that Beverly Clearly is an excellent children's author, but I didn't think this was the best of her books. So actually, within the past 10 years or so, I read one of the honor books. Actually, I read it many times because my fifth grade students used to read it. It was called The Sign of the Beaver. I thought that book was excellent and absolutely would have been my choice, no question. So let's see how my adult opinion fares on this one. It's kind of hard to overcome such strongly held preconceived notions. As a Lifetime Achievement Award, yes, Beverly Clearly absolutely should have won the Newbery at some point. But for this one, I don't know. We'll see. We know not only is she competing against the other authors this year, she's kind of competing against herself with all of the Ramona books, all of the Henry Huggins books, The Mouse and the Motorcycle. So many books that she did were super popular and would have been good choices. We'll see about this one. So this is a pretty simple story. It's about a boy named Lee, Leigh, as he likes to point out, Lee Botts, who is facing some pretty major changes in his life. His parents are recently divorced, and he doesn't hear from his dad very often. Dad is a long-distance trucker. Plus, Lee is at a new school, and someone keeps stealing parts of his lunch. The story begins with a letter he writes to the author, Mr. Henshaw, when he's in second grade. The next page is a letter from third grade, then a letter he wrote in fourth grade, etc. Eventually, Mr. Henshaw writes back and calls out Lee for all of the dumb questions he asked. He turns it around and sends Lee a list of questions that Mom says he has to answer. Lee keeps sending letters. Eventually, Mr. Henshaw suggests he keep a diary or a journal instead, and Lee realizes he enjoys writing. The end. Super quick summary. I mean, this book is exactly what I remember it being as a child. It's not great. I mean, it's fine. There's nothing terrible about it, but I'm going to stand by my opinion that every single Ramona book is far superior to this one. And after reading both this and Sign of the Beaver as an adult, I'm still going to say that one should have won. That one has much more depth and emotion. Plus, it's the favorite Newbery story of a child growing up and finding his place in the world. In addition, it paints Native Americans in a positive light, which isn't something these books have always done. And it's historic fiction, which is another thing that the Newbery Committee loves. So it's not a good sign that I'm talking more about a book that lost as opposed to a book that won. This book was fine. I finished the entire thing in a day. It's quite short. It's just looking back here. It is 100 pages, 134 pages. And it's at a pretty basic reading level. I don't have the exact math. My estimate is about a third grade, high second, low third grade reading level. So the reading level, the content, yes, it fits perfectly well with the Newbery series, but I don't think this is Clearly's best book. There were two parts that were kind of humorous that I wanted to read. So on page 9, Lee had received a letter from Mr. Henshaw, and this is the second paragraph on page 9. When your letter finally came, I didn't want to read it to the class, because I didn't think Miss Martinez would like silly answers. Like your real name is Messing A. Round, and you don't have kids because you don't read goats. She said I had to read it. The class laughed and Miss Martinez smiled. But she didn't smile when I came to the part about your favorite animal was a purple monster who ate children, who sent authors long lists of questions for reports instead of learning to use the library. So I thought that was pretty funny. It's clearly the author calling out students who ask ridiculous questions that any biography would have answered. And then also on page 11, I thought this was funny too. This is in the postscript to a letter that he's writing to Mr. Henshaw as a follow-up. He says, P.S. When I asked you what the title of your next book was going to be, you said, who knows? Did that mean that was the title? Or you don't know what the title will be? And do you really write books because you have read every book in the library? Or because writing beats mowing the lawn or shoveling snow? So definitely funny parts to this book, but overall, I didn't love it. So I'm mixed on this one. I love Beverly Clearly as an author. I was super devastated when she died a couple years ago. She seems like one of those authors who has always been old, yet will always be around. And this one was fine. It seems more geared towards boys as opposed to girls. Maybe that was intentional. I would think the Ramonas are more geared toward girl readers. I don't know. Are we even assigning genders to books at this point? I don't know. I'm rambling. 1984, Dear Mr. Henshaw by Beverly Clearly. The next book is another high fantasy. So I will get to that in the next week or so. Thanks for watching. Bye.